Hello Africa, welcome to another edition of Health Afrik on AAU TV. AAU TV is the voice of higher education in Africa. I am your host, Bridget Ama Denteh, and today we are discussing the role of non-governmental organizations in the mental health advocacy and aid. And with us is Mr. Hamphery Kofie. He is the Executive Secretary of the Mental Health Society of Ghana and also a country facilitator for Mental Health and Leadership Program. He's here to help us delve into the issues so that we'll understand what they are doing as Mental Health Society of Ghana. Please stay with us. We are going on a quick break. We'll be back shortly.
Ma Africa Amad.
Magadini Mose.
Olá a todos.
Bonjour.
Nagaiswa.
Goeiedag.
Salivonani lonke.
Moribwanji.
Hello.
We are
Africa University.
Africa University has brought the US to me where I couldn't go, and now is taking Africa to the world. And I am Africa.
As a community of diverse cultures and languages, Africa University is passionate about moving the agenda of Pan-Africanism. Africa University, the dream is alive.
I'm studying medical laboratory sciences on the STEM scholarship. Africa University has the best malaria research lab in the entire country. So if you're interested in lab sciences or conducting any sort of research, then Africa University is the place to be.
Africa University is the school of hope in the valley of dreams. Come and join me. We're gonna make Africa better than before.
You might have not been to all the African countries. Come to Africa University and see Africa happening every day. An institution that offers a world-class education system.
Are you thinking of being a global person? Thinking of enhancing your business and leadership skills? Why not choose Africa University?
As a working mother and a wife, through one of its many flexible programs, Africa University has afforded me an opportunity to pursue my master's degree in intellectual property.
As former SRC president, Africa University sharpened my leadership skills. A university that rewards excellency and hard working.
Being a Catholic nun, I came to Africa University with a lot of mixed feelings. I was scared, a bit hesitant, and wondering how was I going to manage in a United Methodist institution. But you know what? I've experienced a vibrant, God-fearing, ecumenical community.
Welcome to Africa University. Sign up today and come and work with some of Africa's finest young talent. Whatever your background or field of interest, you will feel right at home. Africa University has a vibrant and multicultural student body, offering you a range of facilities, both in and outside the classroom. Our dining hall provides for more than 11 different menus with cultural diversity. Should you need accommodation, Africa University caters for a number of residence options. Whatever your level and whatever your sport, at Africa University you'll find plenty of opportunities to stay active. Our excellent sports and fitness facilities will help you stay on top of your game in an environment that promotes a proactive approach to sport, recreation, health and well-being. Every year the university gets multi-talented athletes from among the student body and staff. Their sporting backgrounds are as varied as their nationalities. Some have represented their countries and have received awards in the process. Enroll with us for our March or August intakes. Africa University, investing in Africa's future.
You're welcome back. As I said earlier, this is Health Afrik, your favorite health show on AAU TV. Mr. Hamphery, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Many thanks.
Okay, so I'd like you to tell us about the Mental Health Society of Ghana and the inspiration for setting it up.
Right. So the Mental Health Society of Ghana was set up in 2009. It's an association of people with mental disorders and their caregivers. Essentially, it's a grassroots society that has membership across the country. The group sought to come together to have a common voice, and in fact, that of a strong one indeed, to be able to advocate for issues in relation to mental health, such that they should be able to influence policies, legislations, they should be able to contribute towards development and social development for that matter. So they thought that they could do that better when they come under a strong umbrella. And that is how come the Mental Health Society of Ghana was formed, actually.
Oh, okay. So how has the journey been so far since 2009?
Well, so we have been identifying the gaps in mental health generally, as in what government has to do, stakeholders have to do, and we make the point strongly, the stakeholders or the actors in mental health having identified the gaps, making suggestions and recommendations to government and other agencies that have to work towards improving mental health in Ghana. So we talk to the Mental Health Authority, we talk to Ghana Health Service, we talk to Committee on Parliament when it's to do with legislations or subsidiary legislations. We have come very far fighting together with other related NGOs, including the Mental Health Leadership and Advocacy Program, and then even basic needs as well, in trying to achieve a holistic mental health, a holistic service which has mental health as a great component in total well-being of a person. So we're talking about not looking at physical health alone, but trying to come at par with physical health, coming at par with general mental health care as well.
Oh, okay. So aside of what other things do you do as an NGO?
Yeah, so we have really done a lot of work through our collaboration with Basic Needs and with funding from DFID to support the training of prayer camp leaders. In that manner, we try to tell them what the law is, and then we have also come very far in trying to push government to implement the mental health law, because there are elements of the mental health law that are fantastic but are still not being implemented. For instance, we're supposed to have a visiting committee in various districts and regions that are supposed to visit prayer camps and make sure that what they are doing is in tandem with a global human rights perspective. And then also the kind of care that is being provided is linked to orthodox medication, so that, for instance, if there is somebody who comes and is an aggressive patient, comes to a prayer camp, they need to call in the community psychiatric nurse to bring whatever sedative that is available to bring the person down, and then once the person is calm, the necessary procedure can follow with some medication and a combination of prayers as they may deem fit. So we have also trained them in the law and what the penalties or the ramifications are if they really frown upon the mental health law. So these are some of the things that we have been doing in the past.
Okay.
We were very strong actually in bringing the mental health law into being.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's very
And so has the legislation for the mental health law, which is the administrative directive or the parent law. Currently, we have worked very well together with the Mental Health Authority to ensure that we're almost about laying it before Parliament, hoping that the next sitting of Parliament to be deemed to be passed after 21 days when it is laid.
Okay. So what would you say is the way forward when it comes to advocacy in mental health and aid?
Yeah, so basically we need to fully integrate mental health into the general healthcare system. Primary healthcare system should have component of mental health. Across the country we have, if you look at the structure, we have the regional hospitals, we have the district hospitals, we have sub-district hospital, we have the CHIPS compound. Mental health should run through all the service delivery system, health service delivery system in Ghana, to the extent that your grandmother or my grandmother in the local lowest community or barest minimum community can have access to mental health. Not only access, but quality to mental health care. I mean, in all the stream of mental health service delivery, we should have components of mental health in there. Because the numbers of people who are suffering from mental health problems is really growing.
So what are the strategies that Mental Health Society of Ghana putting in place to deal with stigmatization?
Right. So, for instance, we are running a program which is also quite a pilot project, but it's also something to do with stigma and discrimination, where people will live the experience, use what we call the social contact program to tell their story or share their experience in events and programs where those are the program either get to understand what mental health or mental ill health is, and then once they share their experience too, it moves people. I mean, it increases knowledge, changes attitude, and also intended behavior towards people with mental disorders within the community. Otherwise, they cannot really stay in the community because of the stigma, which extends to their family. Because once you are living in a family house, or you live with a family where there's one mentally ill person or there's one person with mental illness, even if there are most beautiful women in the house, nobody will come and knock at the door, because the stigma will be so strong that even the community members will be having a pointed finger to say that this house, you know. So the stigma is so strong. You ask whether those people don't need to live in the community, because if the stigma is so strong, you cannot even go. And to the extent that once the person is coming from that house, it's difficult for the person to be accepted by the community. And it has gone on to the extent that some of our laws are even, perpetuating this. If you look at our own Article 42 of the law, the Constitution tells you how people of on sound mind cannot vote. Now, what is it to say that somebody is on sound mind? Is it a person who has ever been to the psychiatric hospital? Or is it the person who is walking and talking to himself? Or is it the person who has lost his phone and is holding it and is asking for the phone? So who are we talking about? We have generalized it, and everybody is stigmatizing anybody who has had any kind of mental disorder or has behaved in a certain manner, which is so bad. So as a result of that, we are denying all this class of people and they are not voting, which is quite terrible.
Yeah, very terrible.
Yeah.
Would you say that non-governmental organizations who are centralizing on mental health are delivering on their mandates? Because in as much as the numbers keep growing, the mental situation doesn't seem to reduce. Are they actually delivering?
Indeed, the NGOs in mental health are doing their very best. You talk about basic needs. You talk about mental health leadership and advocacy program. You talk about Mental Health Society of Ghana. You talk about the other NGOs in mental health, and then also the Mental Health Authority, the Ghana Health Service. I mean, everybody is doing his bit, but the situation is even better now than it used to be some years ago, where mental health was a no-go area. Nobody had to talk about mental health because it came with so much strong stigma. But if you look at the SDGs, the SDG has mental health. In the first one, it didn't, but now it has. If you look at the UN itself, it has a program which has mental health. So globally, mental health is catching up very fast. And the issue of stigma, I believe that over time will begin to reduce, though there hasn't been any significant baseline done yet. And that is what Mental Health Society of Ghana, together with Time to Change Global, trying to do to kind of create a baseline for a pilot project, a one-year pilot project, after which we're going to measure how stigma has gone down, so that it becomes a baseline for us to all understand whether or not stigma and discrimination has reduced over the years.
Okay, so in as much as there are NGOs, there are hospitals, all taking care of mental health, now there's the situation where herbalists, not really herbalists, but traditional healers are also into the business of trying to help people. Is there ever a situation where they have ever been able to help someone and then the person comes out to say, oh, I went to a traditional healer and now I'm healed?
So the non-formal mental health service providers, non-formal, when I say non-formal, I'm referring to the spiritual and prayer camps, then I'm referring to the traditional healers.
Okay.
In this part of our world, or for that matter in Ghana, you have the traditional healers mostly located in the northern part of Ghana, mostly. And then you have the spiritual and prayer camps in the southern belt and also in the middle belt. So you notice that each and every one of these people would want to justify what he's doing. I mean, they have a big clientele base where they can even tell you that people have come from Togo, Benin to come for healing, have healed X, Y, Z people. So for them, they have always tried to adduce some evidence to show that what they are doing is working. Now, what we have been doing also is that we don't entirely condemn them, because we are careful how to manage them. We encourage them to combine whatever they believe to do with orthodox medication. Because the point is that even if you try to outlaw it, people will go underground and seek their services. You place the prayer camp wherever, people will look for it. So it means that our belief system is so strong that most Africans will look for the meaning of any condition that he goes into. If, for instance, you are even walking, you wake up right in the morning, and just as you step from your bed, you kick your left foot. If it's your left foot, you have an interpretation. Hey, early morning today, what is today's date? Or what is the week of the day of the week? Is Tuesday. Hey, how can I kick my foot on an early morning and it's the left? So at any point in time, we have some strong belief that something is manipulating something. So if you have such a belief system, then you need to see how you can work with those who claim they provide those services, so that they will rather buy into the orthodox medication and try to work alongside it, because it will be difficult to outlaw it. And it is more dangerous when you outlaw it and they go underground and they operate. So even the mental health law does not necessarily outlaw the prayer camps and then traditional healers.
So will there ever be a time where they are given prior knowledge? Traditional healers are educated as to how to deal with people who come in, and you are unable to hold them down instead of chaining them and all of that. Maybe they're given some injections to inject them when they come over.
So as part of some of the activities we did in the Central region, which was a collaboration between Mental Health Society of Ghana and Basic Needs, with that funding from the AFID, we kind of tried to get them to understand that they need to work together with the community psychiatric nurses close by their jurisdiction. So in the past, they have worked with them where if somebody brought any case that was an aggressive, they called in the nurse to come and apply whatever sedative it is that they will require, so that after that they take it from there. So it's gradual, but I mean we get in there. I believe most of the time when you even ask the traditional healers or the prayer camp operators, they will tell you, oh, now when we have a problem, we call the nurse. But hitherto it wasn't like that. They will do what they think they are best known in doing. And in the process, they lower the dignity of the person. The person goes through cruel treatment and torture and all that. So it's getting better, but it's not absolutely solved.
Okay. Mr. Kofie, we're going on a quick break. But then when we come back, I'd like you to tell us if there will ever be a time that will have parity between physical health and mental health. Viewers, we are discussing the role of non-governmental organizations in the mental health advocacy and aid, and we have here Mr. Hamphery Kofie. We're going on a quick break. Please stay with us.
Botswana Accountancy College is a business school that was set up over 2 decades ago to contribute towards the human capital development in Botswana and beyond. BAC has over 20 years diversified its product portfolio to offer accounting, business, leisure, management, and ICT-related programs at undergraduate and postgraduate levels, as well as consultancy short courses to augment professional skills. In achieving this diversification, the college has partnered with UK-based universities of Derby, Sunderland, and Sheffield Hallam University, as well as professional bodies such as SEMA, Beaker, AAT, ACCA, CIA, Cisco, Microsoft, SAP, ESA, and SIPS to allow our graduates to have a globally recognized qualification and be globally competitive. To learn more about BAC, contact us on 395362 in Gaborone or 2410558 in Francistown, or visit our website on www.bac.ac.bw. Also, you can visit our social media pages on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. BAC, celebrating over 20 years of creating business leaders.
You're welcome back. This is Health Afrik on AAU TV. Mr. Kofie, before we left, I was talking about the fact, is there ever going to be a time where we have priority with mental and physical health?
Yeah, so it's an ongoing advocacy, and I believe that under the project which the Mental Health Leadership and Advocacy Program did, where we contextualized the WHO Gap Action Program, which is essentially a document that provides training for non-specialists, nurses, etc., so that they are able to kind of identify mental health conditions within their setting. So they are not necessarily nurses in practicing mental health. They are general nurses, but the document is used to train them to be able to identify and also refer if they are not able to manage. Of course, in the past, there has been some work around that basic needs have done, which also is in relation to that. But we are looking at a stage where we will say that general physical health is equal to mental health. And that is what globally the fight is about. It's about budgetary allocation, it's about resource allocation, it's about human resource, where we would have all these two, that is the general physical health and then the mental health professionals coming together in a strong bond and advocating and pushing both physical and mental health together. Because you see, whatever decision you take about yourself, whether you want to walk or you want to jump, the decision begins from your mind. So if your mind tells you something and it's right, you act rightly. If it tells you something is negative, it's negative, and you act as such. Otherwise, why would somebody walk to the church and tell the church that he has come here to assassinate the former president? It is what the mind told him that he acted upon. So we need to walk along both, that is to say physical health and then mental health together. We cannot walk leaving one behind. Otherwise, the nation will be in trouble one day. You know, because if you look at even spousal violence and all those things, some of them have mental health underpinnings. And you even in the normal traffic, when you are driving and see or hear people screaming, you think that is just okay. It's not that okay. I mean, we need to walk along both and not prioritize one over the other. We have come very far where we have laws that really, and the mental health law has been described by the WHO as the state-of-the-art law, and it is so because the WHO themselves were part of the process. So it's a fantastic law, but the implementation is quite slow. So many things in the law have not been implemented, including the setting up of a mental health tribunal. Because in future, some of these prayer camps that violate the rights of people with mental disorders will be brought before the tribunal. So we need to establish the tribunal. We need to establish the visiting committee that will go and inspect the prayer camps and see what is happening there, and then either recommend their closure or, I mean, bring them before the tribunal, you know.
So how can the impact of the work of the NGO be felt? Because when you come to Ghana, we have Ankafo somewhere in the lower belt. We have Accra Psychiatric, the lower belt. There's really nothing when you go to the north, the Savannah areas. There are no hospitals. So how can your work be felt, and what's the impact like?
Yeah, so Ghana Health Service and the Mental Health Authority, together with Basic Needs, who is also strongly in the north, are working closely to ensure that mental health services across. And that's how come they have provided resources to community psychiatric units in the north. For instance, they have provided motorbikes for community psychiatric nurses to be able to have access to the communities and provide mental health care in terms of educating the families on mental health issues, school talks and all that. So that is the NGO for you, trying to push strongly for the promotion of mental health. Ghana Health Service as well, they have the regional mental health coordinators, they have other community mental health officers, they have other spectrum of mental health service providers or resources that are within the northern Ghana. In the past, it was horrible where every mental health case had to be brought to the south. even from the middle belt, Brown Half Ashanti region, had to be brought to the south. But if you ask the psychiatric hospital managers, they will tell you that the numbers have also reduced significantly, and it is so because the NGOs and the Mental Health Authority, together with Ghana Health Service, are doing their bit also in the northern part to at least make sure that mental health services is of a quality and is accessible as well.
Okay. So, if that is the case, then I think it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, it's significant.
Yeah, it's
very
significant,
significant.
At least. You don't have to come all the way south to get treatment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Unless in extreme cases.
Okay.
Even in extreme cases, there are some regional hospitals that have psychiatric wings. So they could be sent to those psychiatric wings of the general health, you know, because almost, I think, so far, I think about 4 or more regional hospitals have psychiatric wings, which wing has, I think, 10 beds. So instead of bringing the person to Ankafo, Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Pantai, if the hospital can take 10 beds, I mean, it's better they stop at that regional hospital and seek treatment, you know. So it's better. I mean, it's improved significantly. It has over the years if you compare to where we started off.
Okay, so come October 10th, you're celebrating World Mental Health Day, and this year's topic is on suicide. So what should we expect from Mental Health Society?
Good. So Mental Health Society of Ghana, together with the Mental Health Leadership and Advocacy Program and Basic Needs, will be working towards issuing press releases, issuing press releases, making sure that we write articles related to suicide. Basic Needs also in the past has used the opportunity to organize What Do You Know related to suicide, you know. Suicide over the years was something that we didn't really give any serious value to. But currently I can tell you that suicide is a public health issue. It's no longer a mental health issue that we will say that this is for mental. It's a public health issue, and that is why our law on suicide has to change. Currently, the law as it is in the Criminal Offences Act, Act 229, tells you that, or provides that, if somebody attempts, and I'm paraphrasing that, if somebody attempts suicide, the person is criminalized. So if you attempt suicide and you don't succeed, it is going to be you versus the state. The police will arrest you and you'll be prosecuted and incarcerated. Why are we not looking at why the person wanted to commit suicide? But we are looking at the end of it, that is he or she trying to commit suicide. So that if, in the event that I try to commit suicide, the best bet is that let me commit it, because if I don't commit it,
and be successful.
So I'll do everything to succeed, to commit suicide. Because if I don't commit suicide and or if I don't succeed it, then I'll go into the prisons. And I don't want to go through that stigma. So let me make sure that I succeed. We need to really repeal some of our laws. This thing is something that we inherited from our colonial masters. And our colonial masters have changed these laws over the years in their country. We are still hanging on to it and saying that if you attempt suicide, no, it's a public health issue. We must all discuss it, you know, because we have, in the past, we have been having incidents of suicide. In fact, there are some that the media even does not capture, so we don't hear. But it's a public health issue that has gained increasing, you know, momentum, that we need to really look at it and see what it is. We need to provide helplines for people who are thinking of it. Because if somebody makes a statement that I wish I could kill myself, I mean, the person could either have the plan already or has begun the plan. So you don't need to take that statement for granted. You know, something must have triggered that statement. So if you are with a friend and you are thinking that, oh, wait, they are kind of keke, it's not like that. He or she is going through something. You must find out from him. So we are going to create awareness on suicide. We are going to tell the people of Ghana what it is that suicide is doing to our country and why we should also decriminalize suicide in this country.
But decriminalizing it won't actually make people stop.
No, not ultimately, but at least we should first of all start somewhere. And say that if you don't succeed, I mean, if you say if I don't succeed, then I'll be pushed into the prisons. What do you mean by that? So you will not want to hear why I wanted to do that. But you want to see the end result. So if the end result is okay, then that's okay and it's fine. But if I don't succeed, the process, you are interested. But you don't want to know the underpinning factors. What is causing me to start what I want to say or what I want to do? I think that is one area we want to bring people's attention, in fact, government's attention to it as well.
Okay, so does the society engage in rehabilitation services?
Yes, we together work with Basic Needs in other projects where people who have gone through psychiatric treatment identify their area of economic interest and want to say, we want to go into a group activity or individual activity, and we want to do X, Y, Z because we think that that is how we can earn our livelihood. So we have done some livelihood engagements in Greater Accra, in the Central region, and other regions as well.
Okay, so you do all the education, the outreaches, the programs and all. How do you ensure that the people you have actually talked to are going by these things so that they don't find themselves in certain situations?
Yeah, so we have, under one of our projects, we have trained about 24 champions. These champions are people who are actually telling their story just for people to be motivated that you can get out of the situation, even if you get into it. You know, so there is a sustained campaign. There's a sustained education, you know. Generally, also, the WHO has rolled out this quality rise, you know, and the quality rise essentially is looking at improving services and then promoting rights, where people go online to kind of undergo some training in terms of mental health. And then there is also a WHO quality right tools that is a human rights instrument that is applied to hospitals, and it is just to find out what is the state of the hospital in terms of services, in terms of human rights, you know. So it's also something that is going to really re-engineer mental health in Ghana, and it is catching up greatly as a result of people's interest in that area.
We're wrapping up here, and I would like to tell us some of the challenges that NGOs face, aside financial.
Yeah, so first of all, financial will be one, but the media's interest in mental health is so low. Mental health does not sell for the media, and that's why we are very grateful that you have brought us to this studio for this very engagement. The media want to push politics. They think that that will sell. But in doing that, they have also forgotten that they themselves can lose it, because there's a thin line between sanity and insanity. And the least thing you push either to the left or right. I have always said it that if you are holding your phone and you are looking for it, you put your money somewhere you cannot remember. It's still to do with the money, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, one or two occasions of it is nothing to talk about, but the reoccurrence of same should lead you to think about what is happening to you. It cannot reoccur every now and then like that. Or you walk in and you are talking to yourself. You're in your bedroom, you are talking to yourself. I mean, once in a blue moon is okay. But if every now and then you're always talking to yourself, you should be worried. You should be worried that something is fundamentally wrong. So for mental health, it's close by us. It's closer than we think. Because usually or normally people will think that if it's not my friend, if it's not my relationship, mental health issues are far. They are not far at all. They are not far at all. You can lose your relationship. You can fail an exam that you thought you were going to pass. You can lose your investment. You can have a relationship problem that will be your beginning. If you go to the psychiatric hospital, you find out also that many of the people are women, and many of the cases are also depressive cases. Depression because he has seen something also in relationship, the mother, the wife, the husband, you know, and he's surprised, and that was his beginning or her beginning, you know. So it is very close to us. Every now and then there are trigger factors. If they set in, they can set anybody, and you can also be there.
Okay, so what will be your final words and any plea to government and other organizations out there?
Yeah, so my plea to government is that, first of all, there are no medications for people with mental disorders. There is no medicine. We need to put the psychotropic medicines on the National Health Insurance essential list. Okay. You understand? We need to get it there because people are not getting treatment. Mm-hmm. You can have all the resources, the very most furbished facilities, but if there is no medication, what are you doing? And so that is one. Two, we need to pass the LI. The LI gives administrative directive to the parent law, which is the mental health law. We need to pass it because it describes how things are supposed to be done. That is one. Then that's two. Then the third one, after the LI has been passed, the Ghana Ministry of Health and then the Ministry of Finance need to quickly come together to ensure that they establish the levy for the mental health fund. Once we have the mental health fund, but there is no money in it. Government is not putting anything there. But once there is money in it, we will begin to overhaul mental health in this country. And again, we need to run behind this WHO quality rights, which is also promoting human rights and then access to treatment and also the quality of treatment. I mean, it is a kind of evaluation that if done on every psychiatric hospital, it will make every hospital sit up, you know. So we need to also push that one and make sure that we use the instrument to assess our psychiatric hospitals and even our general hospitals in Ghana. And I'm sure with all these things, we'll be moving forward in the proper direction.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kofie, for coming. It's been a pleasure. You've really learned a lot. There's a thin line between sanity and insanity. Viewers, this has been Health Afrik on AAU TV. As I said earlier, today we've been discussing the role of non-governmental organizations in the mental health advocacy and aid. And Mr. Hamphery Kofie has told us a lot. There's a thin line between sanity and insanity. Whatever be the case, walk to a hospital and you will get help. Unfortunately, this will be some way the last episode of mental health, but then we'll be interspersing our new season on diet and nutrition with other mental health programs. Please stay tuned for other programs.